Hey everyone, it's Jordan, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I wish that I've read this year. So, I'm doing a series of videos that's like I did 2 years ago. I did my own Bookmas. This is going to be day 1, and yeah, anyways, this is a list of books that I've done every year now that I've talked about the books that I wish I've read in the current year. I mean, this year has been a roller coaster. 2020 has been a roller coaster for a lot of people, and especially me. Like, there were some new release books that I wanted to read, but some of them just didn't grab my attention. So, like, even though I had a lot of 2020 releases books that I didn't get to, there were some that were on my most anticipated release list, but I haven't gotten to them, and I feel bad about it. And I picked 10 books that I wished I've read this year, but let's get to the books. So the first book that I wished I read this year is The Shadow Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, who's the author of the Third of a Pirate King duology and the author of Warrior of the Wild. And this book is about a girl who's seeking to marry the Shadow King, but to seduce him and kill him. But then there was someone else who's also trying to take revenge on the king, and it really sounded my interest in it. I think this is a standalone fantasy book, and she's becoming one of my favorite authors since I've read Daughter of the Pirate King duology, and I'm just really felt bad for not getting to this one this year, especially like a lot of times, like, tall books take me longer to read, and that's what happened with Warrior of the Wild. And this, like, really seemed pretty short, but it's like I knew that tall books just been an issue for me, especially when it's like a 300-page book, but it's tall books take me longer to read. But yeah, hopefully I'll get to this like soon, because I just really felt bad for not reading that this year. The next book that I wished I'd read this year is These Vengeful Hearts by Catherine Lauren. This is a mystery book that I got from a Beacon book box back in October or September, I can't remember, but this is a mystery book which involves a clique of girls, and one of the members that became a new member, and then she goes missing, I think. But I've been wanting to read more mysteries lately, and this has caught my eye, but I haven't picked it up yet. And I really love this cover, especially like the dark background with a bright red and pinks on the cover. But I literally wish I'd gone to this, because I'm really curious about this book, and especially when it's a mystery that I've been wanting to read since I got it from a book box. The next book that I wish I'd read in 2020 is The Princess Will Save You by Sarah Henning. This is the same author as the Sea Witch duology, this book is a Princess Bride retelling, which I was looking forward to, but I did not pick it up for some reason. I honestly wanted to read her other book that is a contemporary called Throw Like a Girl, I think, and of course this has a sequel that's coming out next year, and I'm like, I really want to get to this book as soon as possible, and I still haven't picked it up yet. And for someone who was a fan of The Princess Bride, I was looking forward to this, especially when it's a retelling, and I still haven't picked it up yet. And yeah, and I hope I'll pick it up, because I feel bad for not picking it up this year. The next book that I wish I've read this year is The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. I've heard of Marie Lu. I know she has read a lot of books, but this one in particular has grabbed my interest since I got this from Alcrate, which is a book about Mozart's sister, and I've never read a book about Mozart. I know of him because I know he's like a famous musician, but I didn't know anything much about him. I didn't know he had a sister, so that kind of got me curious about this book, and I still haven't picked it up yet. And this is a gorgeous cover and has sprayed edges, and I forgot it. Oh yeah, and Under the Dust Jacket is so beautiful, and I just really felt bad because I have not read a lot of historical fiction this year, and I know this is a historical fiction with a fantasy twist, which I do love, and I'm just really upset that I haven't picked this up yet, and I was very curious about this book, and I just felt bad for not picking it up. The next book that I wish I read this year is A Heart So Fierce and Broken by Bridget Kammerer, which is the second book in Cursebreaker series, and the first book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is a sequel, obviously. And if you haven't read the first book is about a girl who has been magically transferred into the fantasy world, and it's a Beauty Beast retelling, and I love the first one so much, and I feel bad for not reading this one. This was my the prince who the princess will save you. That was one of my most anticipated releases of this year. This was my #1 most anticipated releases of this year, and I haven't picked it up, and I'm just really sad about it, because I know the third one's coming out next year, and I still haven't picked this up yet, and I know my goal for 2021 is to catch up on series that I've already started, because I have a long list of sequels that I need to get to, and I still haven't gotten to, and this is one of them. The next book that I meant to read, that I wish I read this year, is Crown Chasers by Rebecca Kofdaffer, which this book sounds really interesting to me because it's about a girl who's like in the next line for the throne, but she actually doesn't want to take over the throne, and her uncle who took over the throne decided to have her as one of the crown chasers, which sounds very interesting, and this is a sci-fi book, and I'm really curious on like how is that possible, and I've hardly hear books about royalty where the heir to the throne who doesn't want to take over the throne, because usually there are 4s, but this one they gave her as an option, which is very interesting, and I really like this cover, especially like over here you see some spacey images on there, and I honestly wanted to pick this up, but I honestly didn't for some reason, and I had sci-fi as my options for my TBR game, but I still haven't picked this up yet, and I'm really hoping that I will pick this up soon, because it sounds really interesting to me. And the next book that I wish that I've read this year is Frozen Beauty by Alexa Highlighter, which is the same author as the Spindlefire duology, and this one is actually not a fantasy. This is a contemporary mystery book, which tells a story about 3 sisters, and then one of them goes missing, and there was a secret involved of these sisters, and I'm really curious about it, not only because I wanted to pick this up, not only because of this gorgeous cover, but I've been wanting to read more mystery, and I still haven't picked this up yet, and I honestly don't know why I haven't picked up a lot of my most anticipated releases of the year this year. Like I said, 2020 is a roller coaster, so yeah, and I was very excited about this since I really enjoyed her Spindlefire duology, and I still haven't picked this up yet, and I honestly feel bad because I really enjoyed her previous books, and I'm really hoping now, like other books on this list, and I probably will say this multiple times, I'm really hoping to pick them up as soon as possible. The next book that I wish that I've read this year is The Upside of Falling by Alex Light, which is about a girl who's told her friends that she has a boyfriend when she doesn't have one, and then this popular guy in school asked if he could be her fake boyfriend, and that's how the story goes from there. And this sounds like a really cute contemporary, because I honestly starting to like the trope on the fake relationships, because I know like what happens with a fake relationship, and I honestly wanted to pick this up, but I'm so sad that I didn't pick it up just because this sounds like a really cute contemporary, and I just wanted to know what happens, and especially like when I know about fake relationships, there's always some kind of hint of romance in there, and I just still haven't picked this up yet, and I've just been wanting to read contemporary, but there's some that I just haven't been in the mood for it for some reason, and I feel bad for not picking this up, and like I said, I haven't read a lot of contemporary this year, and I just wish I picked this up, but I didn't, and I honestly felt bad for not picking this up. The next book that I wish that I've read this year is Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. This is the second book of the Serpent and Dove series, and the reason I wish that I've read this year because I've read Serpent and Dove like at the beginning of this year, and I really enjoyed it, and I wanted to pick this up as soon as possible, but I didn't. And if you haven't read the first book, Serpent and Dove is about a witch who married the witch hunter through an arranged marriage, but the witch hunter doesn't know that she's a witch. The whole story goes from there, and I loved it so much, and I was excited about the sequel, and of course the third book is coming out, and I feel bad for not picking this up, and I still, like I mentioned earlier in this video, I'm gonna try to catch up on sequels that I've already, like series that I've already started and haven't finished, so I'm hoping I will pick, like the other one that I have earlier in this video, I hope I pick this up as soon as possible. This book kind of terrifies me because of, it's like past 500 pages, I think. Let me see how many pages are there. Oh boy, 532. So this is one I'm excited to read, but I'm also scared about because big books always, I don't know, I'm just really excited about this despite the size of how many pages there are in this book. And the last book that I wish that I've read this year is Seasons of Storm by Ellie Casameda, which sounds really interesting to me because this is a book about like different like in this world, like there are different seasons, and the winter person from the winter and the spring are forbidden to fall in love, and they end up falling in love, I think. But this grabbed my interest, especially the atmosphere of this world, and the forbidden romance in here sounds really interesting to me, and I honestly felt bad for not picking this up. Another book that I got from a book box this year, and I'm just really wish I picked this up, but I haven't yet. But yeah, I meant to read it this year, and I didn't, and unlike other books, I feel bad for not picking them up. So that's all the books that I wish that I've read this year. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and comment down below books that you wish that you've read this year. And if you haven't already, click the subscribe button and click the bell icon so you know if I whenever I post new videos. Also, you can follow me on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, which all links will be down below for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!